Okay, welcome everyone. It is Manifest Monthly for August. Woo! I am so happy to be here tonight, and I have an announcement before we get started into anything. And um, that actually is because I've been doing the podcast along with these Manifestation Monthlies. I think I'm gonna end the Manifest Monthlies at the end of the year. Because what I'm finding is that the stuff that I'm bringing to Manifest Monthly, I'm bringing it into the podcast anyway. And what it seems is happening is that people are wanting to watch the replay versus coming on live, which I understand that because I'd like to do things on my own time too. Um, so I think it might all just become a podcast at some point, but I think I'm going to give it to the end of the year and go from there. So I just wanted to put that out there to you all. So I'm going to keep it going to the end of the year, and hopefully by then the podcast will be up and running, and yeah, we'll go from there. So it is what? It's August. What is today? August the 30th. The fall is almost here. I can't believe it. It's so crazy how fast this summer went, right? Really nuts. Um, so yeah, I wanted to just go over what we did last month and then we'll do some updates and then get into it. So last month, if I know Al, Rebecca, you weren't with us, but if you were able to catch the replay, we talked about shadow work, what it is, why it's important. Some people never heard the term before. Some people heard of it but didn't really understand what it was about. And so we just went over some different ways that you can do shadow work, why it's so important to do it, and yeah, your shadow can have a negative impact on your well-being, or that part of you that you ignore or reject is the shadow. Like you cast aside an aspect of you that you don't want to deal with, or maybe you were embarrassed about or something. It goes into your shadow and or your subconscious mind. Sometimes we repress things so much that we don't even think about it. And then at some point, usually one of the most inconvenient times ever, things come back up to the surface. And if we were able to have dealt with that um, by exploring with all the different tools and options that we talked about last month, maybe it wouldn't come up like that for you at an inconvenient time or whatever. So the benefits of the shadow work is increased confidence and acceptance, better relationships. Your compassion tends to increase, not just for other people, but for yourself. Overall, improved wellness, increased clarity and authenticity. I I'm in a constant shadow work phase, if that makes sense. I am always looking at things, not so much like I need all this healing or anything like that, but whenever things come up for me, I'm constantly asking questions. Why is this presenting itself to me? You know, or did I manifest this? Did I attract this? Why am I attracting this? What is going on? What's going on within me that's projecting this out into my reality? So I am always asking the questions instead of just getting upset or whatever. I'm like really looking at it now from a more bird's eye point of view, going, all right, what's really going on here? Because there's something going on. Um, so yeah, that those are like the easiest ways to deal with the shadow on a consistent basis. But we talked about all the other tools, and you can go back to that episode, and we get really deep into it. And we even do an exercise in it too. We did a journaling exercise in it, which was interesting. So, Rebecca, I'm just going to go ahead and give you the floor because I know you want to tell me something or tell us something, and the people that are going to watch the replay. So go ahead and take it away. What's going on with you? I know you went to Egypt. I got all my goodies back from Egypt from you, so thank you so much. You are muted, so let me unmute you. Oh, no, you got to unmute yourself.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. So, so I went on this trip to Egypt in like the middle of July. And that I thought like that through learning how to manifest and things, I manifested it. And so when I got back, I kept like seeing like Egypt things everywhere, right? I had an appointment with an acupuncturist and I got there and the doctor was like, "I'm from Cairo." He said, "Do you know that you were seeing an Egyptian doctor?" And so like I just thought it was like weird, but like my subconscious, right? Like because I had just been there and did all these really cool things. So remember how in a few months ago you had said play around with manifestation and say things like, "Wouldn't it be fun if? Wouldn't it be cool if?" So I had all these like weird signs about Egypt that I was like, I don't know, it's just because I was just there, whatever. And Sunday night, I was feeling like a little stagnant and like, God, I feel like my life is stuck. Like, come on, like, wouldn't it be so funny if they sent out an email tomorrow with another trip offering? And Monday morning rolls in a trip offering for Egypt, like a different, like a different part of Egypt. And I'm saying to myself, you like my ego kind of got in the way because I was like, well, I've already been there and and I was like, no, you manifested this. You put your name in there because you did this. I'm going back to Egypt in October.
That is so awesome.
Like, isn't that crazy? So, but like
That is amazing.
it's a different part of Egypt this time, with like different volunteers and like so I am saying that I manifested it and I was like, what the heck? I don't even know what happened. But I said it and the universe heard me, so I'm going back to Egypt.
You are so powerful. Do you feel that
Thank
now? Do you know that? You know that you're such a powerful manifester now. Like everything that you've talked about has just come right in.
Yeah, I know, but it's the things that like I didn't think anybody heard me when I said that, and then all of a sudden the email came through, and I was like, oh shit, okay. Well, I'm not gonna look at the universe and be like, get away from me. You didn't give me the
Right.
trip that I was like, I did this. I'm going
Yeah.
back. So like for some reason I need to be back in Egypt. I don't know what that reason is yet, but I need to be there, so I'm gonna go.
It's such an amazing thing you're doing too, which is just awesome.
Thanks.
Really,
It's a,
really
it's a
just amazing.
week long trip again. But I'm gonna actually extend for a day or two and get to like see some things. So
Good. Maybe
it'll
that's
be
why you're meant to go back.
I don't know. And you know what? I'm just sort of leaving it up to whatever happens. Like is
Very
supposed
nice.
and traveling is like teaching me that. As long as my luggage doesn't get lost. Please don't. Please don't. Please
I understand that. Yeah, that's happened to me before. Not fun.
don't. So
Not fun at all.
let's just a fabulous trip and new memories.
Yeah. So Megan, I'm gonna call on you for a second. How did you make out with that journaling prompting that we did last month? Did anything come up for you for that? If you don't mind me calling you out, I'm just
Yeah.
curious.
Which one?
So we did well we did one long one, right? That we wound up doing the Ho'oponopono prayer too and all that stuff.
Hmm. Yes.
Do you did anything surprising come up for you, or did you take that into the next month, or maybe just explored your shadow self in some other way?
Um, so I've been thinking how to, it was one of those, I think I text you and we had texted afterward a little bit
Yes.
where there was as far as the shadow self or that whole like when you react to someone, it's usually because there's something of you in them. And I was saying, like, I had a person that definitely triggers me. And I realized that, oh, it's because sometimes I act like that person.
Mm,
And it's a person that I love, but there are times when I'm like, I feel agitated around her. And I finally had that, like, oh, okay, let me take a step back. And so I've been trying to be more aware of what it is about her, what it is about me, and a lot of it is the decisions that she'll make or things that she'll say or not say. A lot of it is, what she doesn't say. And that is a big thing that I've been working on, is making sure that I'm heard. And if there's something that I have to say, that I actually say it. Because I usually will just not. I'll just back off and I won't talk. And so I'm trying to kind of work on that a little bit.
That's exactly what it is, right? It's just
Yeah.
it's the awareness of, yeah, what is it in that person that's making you crazy, or
Yeah.
or like we also talked about on the flip side, what is it about that person that you admire, because that's something within you too, such a great question when you come into that kind of a scenario. Thank you for sharing that.
Sure.
Appreciate that. My face just faded in and out. That was really weird. Ah. All right. Anyway, um, so yeah, my monthly recap. I'm always doing shadow work. I'm not going to really get too far into that at all, actually. But one of the things that's been happening for months, if you guys have been following, is I've been pretty stuck is the word that I've been using. I know I used a lot of that last month for the previous month. Things got stuck in my life. My energy felt a little stuck. I had financial streams of income get stuck. They're unstuck now, thank goodness. But there was just like this weird trudging through the mud kind of mode, it felt like. And then this past month things have just um the dam has broken and things are just pouring through, which is really, really cool. Um, Different things. And I wanted to talk a little bit about it tonight. Uh, a lot about it tonight, actually. I recorded this podcast episode, and this is where I kind of came up with that. I think I'm only going to do the Manifest Monthly for a couple more months, and then, because the podcast is starting to sound like Manifest Monthly. Um, but the episode that I did is how you're co-creating with the universe, like how like for sure, like Rebecca, like you said, like wouldn't it be funny if I got this email tomorrow, and then boom, there it is, right? So yeah, those are like signs that you are co-creating with the universe. And we talked about this stuff before too, like synchronicities and things like that. Those are different ways of knowing, just knowing that there's a bigger picture going on. And I wanted to just talk about something that completely kind of came to fruition for me in a few different ways. So way back in 2020, when we had the lockdown, actually, I was watching a YouTube video of somebody, and this person was like, "Yeah, I put all of my goals on this wall," and it was a beautiful wall, and it was just like this gorgeous artistic way of setting up your goals and desires, almost like a vision board, but not with pictures and stuff. It was just this goal and that goal and this goal. And she said she went into her room every morning with her coffee and would look at each one and envision them being done and connecting with the vibration of the emotions that would come up, knowing that that was already done and all the things that we talked about. And that was just her process. So I was like, hey, why not? Right. So I cut out all these. I had like this poster board and I cut out like a circle and a triangle and different shapes. And then I popped a post-it on each one. I wrote my goals down and I just put them on the bottom of the wall near the baseboard. Um, and I didn't bring my morning coffee in every day, but I looked at them every day and just kind of visualized them and whatever. So that was something that I had tried a few years back. And on one of them, the post-it said travel, but that year was really wonky, right? So there was not really a whole lot of traveling going on. And I don't even know that fully opened up. I don't remember if that took us into 2021 or not, but whatever. I just definitely wasn't in traveling mode except to go up to Maine to see my family. So the other thing that came up for me was that I remember back then I heard, be specific, where do you want to go? And the places that I wanted to go was Colorado and Sedona, Arizona. And this was, like I said, years ago. I've always wanted to go to both places. And one of the things that happened this past month Al is with us tonight, and I wanted to talk to him about putting together a retreat for a spiritual retreat for Live and Joy in Sedona, Arizona. So when we met Al a couple months back, he explained that he goes to Arizona all the time. He's a spiritual tour guide, all that good stuff. And immediately I was like, we need to do a Live and Joy retreat, in 2024. And one of the things that was holding me back, I said to myself, I don't want to do that until I go first and I go see everything so I can plan it out. Because that's just kind of how I work. I'm a very methodical planner type of person. I like to be organized, and I don't like to leave things up to the imagination, especially when it comes to involving bringing in other people to have like the best experience I could possibly provide for them. So I got this like voice in my head that said, just book it. Just do it. Just do it. I mean, literally the words, and I think, Al, I may have texted this to you, and because I know I asked you, hey, what are the best times to travel there? I really want to set up this retreat. And I think I'd sent you the words, I'm just going to let you do your thing, or trust that your service, or something like that. I remember saying that because that's exactly the voice that was coming in my head. Just trust him, let him do his thing. He knows the area, he knows what he's doing, and just do it. And I know that for me, when I take that leap of faith, it's like this, it's a crazy, scary, exciting, weird energy, right? But when it happens, I know things tend to happen, but I don't realize it ahead of time until after I've done it. And I'm like, oof, that was crazy. I can't believe I'm doing it. And then things start to flow, right? So what happened so we talked about October of next year, September, October of next year. Al has um a villa or a big room or whatever that sleeps 8 people that he was going to hold a vacation for, and he had it on Facebook and really beautiful pictures and all that stuff. And he said, I have this place from September 1st to the 8th, but I'm taking down the vacation from Facebook and just keeping it for me and my wife. Would you and your husband like to come on me? Like, don't worry about paying for it. And so I was like, yeah, that's not going to happen because in my world, I can't. Maddie really holds me back, right? So there's taking care of Maddie, getting people to take care of her, even for an overnight, is a challenging task for me. So imagining that I would get somebody to take care of her for 5 days was just insane. And so I immediately shut it down. I'm like, no. And I was getting ready to text them. I'd love to, and then I got this voice in my head again that said, just start asking people. This is kind of crazy. So I asked the one person. I only have 3 or 4 people that I trust with Maddie. So I reached out to the one person that I trust the most, and it turns out she can do 4 of the days, and nights, and she's totally willing. And then I had to get a couple of other shifts covered from 2 other people, and they were boom, boom, boom. And I think within a day and a half, something like that, the whole trip was planned. It was done. And then Al's helping me find flights and car rentals, and it was just everything was so fast. Oh, and yeah, the last challenge, getting Rick on board because he doesn't like to travel. He's like, but he conceded and he's going, and I think he's actually a little excited. So that happened. Meanwhile, now I'm going to be able to go and see some of the sites, and now Al and I are going to work together to try to pull something together for Live and Joy because I want to be able to give about a year's time, because people are going to want to make monthly payments and things like that because that can be sometimes a pricey trip. So yeah, this is happening, and I'm so excited about it, and the energy that I have going into this is just really cool. And it's not something I've ever really anticipated doing before, but I just feel like, I don't know, things are just kind of flowing. Um, the other thing, Megan, for you and me, I felt like, especially in the last week or two, that we've been just going and going and going with booking workshops and websites and all the admin stuff, and like I feel like we've been on a roll. I think other things in my life have been kind of flowing too, so it's been really, really interesting. um my whole point too before Al was just that whole synchronistic. I know I talked about how we met and all the synchronicities that we had when we met is just was just messages for me to just kind of go with this whole thing. So it's I'm just really, really, really excited about all this. Um, what else did I have here? I think I just said the whole story and didn't read anything from my book. Isn't that funny? Because I always have notes because that's how methodical I am. I think that was pretty much my month in recap. So, what I wanted to talk about for this month's topics is visualization and affirmations. I know we've already talked about this stuff, but I feel like things are kind of getting a little bit more involved and maybe even a little bit more detailed. But the one thing with the visualization, this is something I've really been playing around with a lot, and deliberate intending. So if you've ever read Abraham Hicks, she calls this deliberate intending. So I deliberately intend to drive to this place safely and, just setting intentions ahead of a task. Instead of just getting in the car and going to the gym and coming home, it's all right, I intend to get to the gym safely, have an incredible workout, and then come home safely. It's just one of those things where you set this intention. I do this for my day in the morning, but I just want to talk about this real quick. Um, I have I'll say acquaintance. He's not exactly a friend, but his name is Matthew David Hurtado, and he is with Allow Ministries in Wisconsin. And he's written some books. He's definitely an online influencer. He's got a lot of stuff out there. I interviewed him once for a book that I never finished, which I should finish, but he I asked him because he's a very successful person, so I wanted to know what his morning routine was. So I asked him the question, what is your morning routine? What is it that you do every day? And most people I talk to are always about, I get up and I meditate or I exercise or, they always have this similar routine. And he said something so unique, and it always stuck in my head, and I never really played around with it until now. Well, I'll say in the last few months. Um, he said every morning when he wakes up, he just spends a half an hour or so visualizing his goals. He just visualizes his goals. And it never really occurred to me why he does this at this point in time of days. We're always talking about, visualize your goal being completed and what your life is going to look like and how you're going to feel and, all that stuff. But I came across this article 2 months ago, I think, about how when we visualize in our theta brainwave state, it's the closest thing to communicating clearly with your subconscious mind. So we talked about that before too, how the conscious and subconscious minds kind of speak a different language, and the way to manifest quickly and effectively and deliberately is to get them to communicate. And when you're in that theta brainwave state, that is the best time to do it. So there's four brainwave states. You may have heard of this. So you have the beta state, which is your highly active. I'm in the beta state right now, right? This is my beta brainwaves. I am projecting, I'm talking, I'm engaging, I'm thinking, I'm speaking. And then there's the alpha brainwave state, which is a little bit more calmer. So that's more like like your daily activities and, things that don't require a whole lot of thinking, but you're still active. Then comes the theta brainwave state. And the theta brainwave state is that state of mind when you're starting to drift to sleep, right? Or you get into a deep meditation, or you're starting to wake up and realize that you're waking up, that dream state almost, right? And then there's the delta brainwave, which is when you're asleep, you're just completely out cold, and that's your delta. That's your dream state. That's your REM, sleep cycles and all that stuff. So that theta brainwave state aside from meditating and getting into that state, I've been playing around with um, utilizing that time at night when I go to sleep and then in the morning when I wake up. So at night, the first thing I do is I say I intend on having a really good night of sleep and heal my body and heal and give my body and my brain the rest that it needs. Like I always put that out there, and then I say, and then I'm going to get up and have all this energy, you know. So I use that, and then I go into kind of visualizing my goals. And one of the visions that I come up with, because I am not very good at imagining things, I have a really hard time pulling in specifics, but there is one vision that I have. I'm looking for a new home, and I'm looking out of my kitchen window, and it's a big window, and there's a big yard out back, and it's bright and it's sunny. And that's all I can really pull in, but I know that I'm in this new space, this space that I love, our next forever home, right? So I just do that, and then I pull in some gratitude. And then the next day in the morning, I go through my entire day of things that I know that I have to do, and I do that deliberate intending. I intend to get up and go to the gym and have a great workout. I intend to be safe. I intend to, I don't know, be productive or get this done. And, that's what I do. And then I start with my gratitude. I'm just so grateful for. By this time, I'm starting to get more into that alpha brainwave state. I'm very grateful for, and that's when I start to get up and brush the teeth and do the normal daily tasks. But I didn't understand when I talked to David or Matthew a few years ago why he did it in the morning. And now it makes perfect sense to me. And now I'm hearing people doing that a lot more. The other thing that people do is listen to subliminals or meditations or some sort of, like high vibe music, 420 hertz music when they go to sleep. Those are all like excellent times to bring that stuff in. So there's that. Um, The other thing about not being a visual, by the way, so Rebecca, I think we talked about this a long time ago. Like, how specific do you need to be to manifest something? And what I've learned over the last few months is that there are different types of manifestors, and there are very specific manifestors, and there are not specific manifestors. And I've come to realize that I am not a specific manifester. I am not that. I think we talked about a car with the certain color seats and the certain type of steering wheel and like all that stuff. That doesn't come to me. Me, I'm like, when this new house comes, I know it's going to be great. You know what I mean? Like, I don't have this visualization of what the countertop is going to look like and what the faucet's going to look like and all that stuff. It just doesn't happen for me. But I know that it's a space that I am in love with. Like this. So it's just the attachment, not the attachment, the energy that goes with the desire that for me, I don't worry about those specific details anymore. And that's because the universe knows what you want. You put out an energy. So just by desiring something, there's a vibration to that, and the universe will tune into that. Will tune into that energy of the desire. And then when you tune into the energy of the desire, boom, there's your co-creation right there. You know? So at that I just love, love, love that concept. So getting into affirmations, um, I wanted to talk a little bit about this because I'm not talking about let's write out affirmations like you are beautiful or I am healthy and I am this. What I am talking about is bringing awareness to your everyday language that you use with people or that people use with you. I am picking up on a lot of things now. I'm hearing people say different things, and in my mind, I'm like, you probably shouldn't say that, So I'm starting to pick up a lot on that stuff, and I don't interject or anything like that. I'm not going to sit there and interrupt somebody's, statement or conversation, unless it's somebody I'm very close with. Hey, don't say that. You might want to change it to this. But what you say in your everyday talk is an affirmation. Everything you say is an affirmation. So affirmations aren't just, pre-written or pre-recorded and repeated sentences. This is your everyday language. Whatever you affirm isn't just describing your reality, it's creating it. So be careful. A few of the examples that I heard in the last week that I wanted to bring up was I heard somebody say, I never have enough time. There's just not enough time in the day. I never have enough time. I know time is a little bit of a restriction in this 3D reality, right? I get that. There's only 24 hours in a day, and there's only so much energy that we have. But the mindset that you're putting out there, that I never have enough time, that's the energy you're putting out, and that's what the universe is going to give more of in your life, is the feeling of not having enough time versus I'm going to be really productive today, and then you get all these things done, and then, yeah, okay, your day went by, but you got it all done, so it's just a different way of shifting the mindset. Another one that I used a lot that I have been working on changing, and I know you've heard me say it, but it's that I suck at techie stuff. That is one that I battle with and I deal with, and whenever I feel that thought come up or something happens, I'm like, it's just not meant to be at this moment. I can come back to this and get it done, so those are the ways that I'm changing my language. I don't say that sentence anymore, and I'm very proud of myself for saying it. Um, and something that somebody said the other, I think it was yesterday, why does this always happen to me? Or this always happens to me. That's what it was. This always happens to me. And I forget what the circumstance was. And I'm like, well, yeah, because you're affirming that it always happens to you. So that's what's going to happen. There's a lot in our language that we use that we don't even realize. So this was something I was going to bring up months ago, and I ran out of time. So I want to go over it again. We went over one of them before, but this is the 5 toxic words that affect your expansion and manifestation abilities by lowering your vibe. And the first one that we talked about was using the words I have to or I need to. And I suggested that we change it to I get to. So instead of I need to take care of my family, or I have to go cook dinner, or I have to pay the bills, or I have to, whatever it is that comes up during your day, change the words to I get to, or I am blessed to. I have to go work out. Now I get to work out. That's a big energy shifter right there in itself. The second most toxic word or phrase is, well, the word is the word can't. The second you put can't in a sentence, you shut down possibilities for whatever it is you're associating it with. I can't do that. I can't do tech stuff. How's that? I am immediately shutting down the possibilities, where in reality, I can do tech stuff. So, and it might take me a little longer than this next generation coming in. That's okay, but I'm learning things along the way. And, the more I use things, the better off, the easier it becomes, So if I were just to say I can't and just shut it down and walk away, it's not going to change as easily as I want it to. The third one, this makes me whatever. So when we come up with an emotion, or somebody does something, or something happens, and you say, this makes me so angry, well, that's an affirmation. Instead, just talk about how you're feeling. I feel angry. I feel angry because of this. Don't say this makes me angry, because then it'll always trigger you. It'll always make you angry. It'll always affect you in some way. So if you just, say, replace it with I feel something, then you're just replacing it with a temporary emotion, not stating, an affirmation. The word should. Number 4, the word should. I should do that. Yep, I should do that. I should do this. I should do that. I should go wash the car. I should write that book. I should, whatever it is that you put on there, whenever you do that, it implies some sort of a judgment on yourself. So don't judge yourself. Say, I will. Or I am in the process of believing that I'm going to do this. If you're not quite believing that you're going to go ahead and do something so extraordinary, you can say, I'm in the process of believing I'm going to do this, or I will do this. And then number 5 is the word try. I'm going to try. I'm going to try. I'm going to try. This one is kind of neat to me. I've recently changed this one. When I get compliments from people, especially at the gym. You know, people are really awesome there. They just encourage each other, and they'll give you compliments, especially the older men. Hey, you're looking good today, you know, or something like that. And I used to say, I'm trying, you know, and I always felt so small when I said that because I'm not trying, I'm working really hard. You know, there's a big difference. So that's what I say now. I'm working hard at it, you know, that's just my affirmation. I'm working hard at it, not I'm trying. There's just a subtle different energy about it. Um, yeah, you could replace it with I am or I am doing. Try, the word try implies doubt. So, yeah, I'm trying. Maybe I'll get there. You know, it has that weird doubt sense to it. So, anyway, when you create your, not create, when you take a look at your everyday language, see if you could come up with something that you're saying on a repetitive basis and go, and maybe stop yourself and bring that awareness in and go, I'm not going to say that anymore. I'm going to change it to, and I would love to hear an example if you have any. Or if you know someone, I think I said this before, there was a guy at the gym. Every time I ask him, hey, how you doing today? I get miserable, miserable. Okay, I guess you're miserable. Whatever, it is what it is. Um, creating, I'm sorry, speaking about your desires when you're, so here's another thing when it comes to affirmations and our focus. So you want to make sure that you're putting your focus on what you want and not what you don't want. Okay. So instead of, let me go back a little bit. So the subconscious mind picks up on keywords. It doesn't pick up on negative is it negative? Is that the word I'm trying to say? Like the no, the not, I don't, you know, those negative words. They don't pick up on that. What the subconscious mind picks up on is the actual like noun or the focus of the sentence. So if you say, I don't want to be poor, your subconscious mind is just going to focus on the word poor. It's not going to go through the whole English sentence of I don't want, right? So instead, I want to be rich or I want this much money in my account, you know. I don't want to be sick. Well, don't focus on not being sick, focus on being healthy. See the difference? Another one, I had another one here. Yeah, if you're trying to manifest your life partner, don't focus on the bad stuff that you don't want in a partner based on your past experience. You know, focus on what are the aspects of the partner that you do want, you know. It's so powerful when you think about this stuff. Our brains are focused on the lack of what we don't want. Now, when we think of things that we don't want, that's where we kind of get our clarity, right? That's how we know what we want. But we're so focused on moving away from what we don't want that we don't focus on moving towards what we do want. So there's a big energy gap there that we could use that energy in a better way from just whatever you don't want, just leave it alone. Let's move towards what you do want and put your focus towards that. Um, we spend more time and energy moving away from what we don't want than moving toward what we do want. And this is very fear and guilt based sometimes, right? So, um, and I'll talk about one of my biggest fear is the whole what happens to Maddie when I'm gone. You know, I'm always, you know, my imagination can run really, really wild sometimes. And I'm like, oh God, I don't want that to happen to her. I don't want that to happen to her. I don't want that to happen to her. So now I've shifted that to Maddie is going to be loved, guided, supported, and connected. You know, always. You know, Maddie will be loved, and you know, like I go with what I do want for her. You know, she will be loved, she will be supported, she will be safe, she will be, you know, and that's where I put my focus. And hopefully that happens. I have no doubt. I actually have a lot of faith now. I didn't always. It is our birthright to have what we really want. So that's another thing too. There's some people out there that if you ask them, what do you want? And a lot of people will say to you, I don't know what I want. I know what I don't want. You ever hear that? Like, oh, I can tell you I don't want this. That's where the focus is. They're so focused on what they don't want, but they don't focus on what they do want. So the universe will always bring more of what you put your focus on. It's so important to remember that. The universe responds to the energy of certainty. So when I say, I don't know what I want, but I know I don't want this, well, that's where's my certainty? It's right where the things I don't want. So if the universe responds to certainty, you want to be certain about what you do want. Um, Hypochondriacs attract more illness because that's what they focus on all the time. Another word I've always heard before was misery loves company. Yeah, misery. If you're focusing on misery, misery's going to bring in more misery. Another one that somebody used to tell me all the time is money breeds money. Okay. Okay, money breeds money. So I think in particular he was talking about some people that were rich or something, and like his theory was is the more money that you have, the more money you breed. But he's also a very not well off financially type of person, so it comes from a very negative and low vibe space. But hey, if you're putting your focus on the money, though, guess what? You're going to bring more of it. So that is really all I have for this month. These are the things that I've been thinking about and tossing around and playing around with for the last month or so, or actually a few months. The visualization thing, I've been having a lot of fun with that. Um, I'm wondering what's happening in my subconscious mind now that I'm really feeding it some imagery because it likes imagery, doesn't know the difference between imagination and reality, right? So why not give it and let it feast off of my desires, you know? So I do have announcements, but before I do, does anybody have anything or questions or want to talk about something? Rebecca, what am I looking at? Is that a drain or something? Oh, it's a light. It looked like a sink drain. You're muted.
I said, sorry, I was typing something on the computer and my phone fell down. So I was like, let me just listen to the sounds of Sharon while I do
No, that's fine. That's fine. It's just I wasn't sure what I was looking at. That's all.
this. Well, directly behind here is actually my bathroom. So I made sure to like close the door because I was like, don't show the people your bathroom. Just close the door for manifest.
You're funny. Uh, so does anybody have anything before I move on? And I'm just really just have announcements.
So when you were going through those 5 toxic words and phrases, they are all things for the most part that I say on a daily basis. So you're talking, I'm like, oh, there's another one. Oh, there's another one. I'm like, all right, I think I need to start watching my language a little bit here.
Yeah.
And I've realized that I do say, especially the I have to and the I should and the I need to try. I do that all the time where I'm like, oh, I need to try to do this today, or I need to try to get this done. And that is a constant thing. And I like the idea of changing the language into maybe a visualization thing. In the morning, here are the things that I would like to accomplish today.
Yeah.
Or along those lines. And when I do break things down that way, I do much better than that rolling to-do list where I'm constantly doing oh, I have to do this and I need to do that and I got to try this out and I got to remember that I should do. Yeah.
I
was like,
really
oh,
feel like, yeah, when I go through that list and like in the beginning of the day, it's almost like it's set in stone and intended and it just gets done for the most part, unless something comes up. But I really feel like setting that intention for me has really made me much more productive because that's the other thing. I envision myself getting through tasks as easily and effortlessly as possible. So I feel more productive. I feel like I have more time, not as pressured.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. I'm really curious. how you're gonna change your language.
I don't know. This is going to be, yes, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be a study
I got
in
something.
my behavior.
That's awesome. Go ahead, Al.
Oh, you were talking about affirmations before. Something that's very important is that the subconscious mind doesn't understand sarcasm either, and self-deprecating humor a lot of times, you're making fun of yourself, and the subconscious mind just takes that as you believing that about yourself. So I think that's an important fact too.
That is so big. Yeah, you're right. There was a guy the other day at the gym. He dropped something. It was like one of his earbuds or something. It rolled all the way underneath this treadmill, and he had to move treadmills to try to find this thing, whatever. And I asked him if he needed help. He said no, whatever. So anyway, he gets it done, and I said, "Did you find it? Everything okay?" He's like, "Story of my life. This shit happens all the time." And I'm like, "Uh-huh." I bet it does. That's so true. Sarcasm. Yeah. Yeah. The subconscious mind doesn't get sarcasm or negative words. Yeah. How powerful is this stuff? I mean, it's so simple, but yet powerful. And, you
Yeah.
know, the more you pull it in, the better and the other thing is too, is so not only is the better, your life going to be or whatever, but the more you pull it in, the more awareness you bring to it, the more you hear it in other people.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, man, you know. But all we can do is focus on ourselves.
Yep.
Yeah, when
But
you were talking about the affirmation thing, I kept thinking, I have a friend who she was over on Friday night and she was talking about like how all doctors are terrible. And she's going on and on about like doctors are terrible. They're all terrible. And she's telling the story about needing to get a prescription because she was going away and that she couldn't get it from this doctor, so she's trying to get it from that doctor. And meanwhile, in my head, I'm thinking, well, if this is a prescription that you need to have every month, why didn't you just get it a week ago, before, not 2 days before you were leaving for Vegas? That's how, and I realized that's how she speaks. Has very negative speech patterns, and I have become more and more aware of that, and I have noticed that's how she talks. And I'm like, well, of course you have terrible doctors. You're going to assume that your doctor is terrible, so then your attitude, whether the doctor is terrible or not, you're going in there with that really pessimistic and negative attitude, so of course you're going to have a terrible time. Like, that's what you're putting out there. So
yeah,
yeah, when you were talking about that, I just kept thinking about her with the affirmation.
Pessimism is such a tough one because I'm the pessimist. I've always been a pessimist, and I catch myself all the time. It's a constant battle of oh yeah, I have a potential job coming up, and it's like, oh, my wife is like, oh, they're gonna call you. No, they're not gonna call me. Then it's always they're looking for somebody much younger than me. And I'm always trying to set myself up to accept the failure, and I know that's just the wrong thing to do, but I just can't help it sometimes. It's a tough one.
so
Um,
Rick calls that not having expectations, so you're not disappointed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yep. But it's a terrible thing to do
Hmm.
because it
Yeah.
goes totally against what we talked about tonight. It goes totally against manifesting an affirmation, and it's just something that constantly battling back and forth. You know, so
Yeah,
later on
definitely.
at night before I go to sleep, I'll try to manifest that everything's going to be great, and then when I talk to somebody about it, negative me comes out.
A lot of times that's conditioning too, that's part of your personality. It's really hard to change an aspect of your personality unless you're doing
Yep.
it consistently all the time, you know. But that's where I'll be pulling this awareness and do this work and try
Yep.
to, do whatever we can to bring the good stuff in.
Yep.
Sharon, can you hear me?
Yeah.
I also wanted to say, I think that one of the frustrating things about like really catching on and like understanding like laws of attraction and manifestation and things like that is that when you start to explain it to other people, because when they're asking you for advice, they get mad at you. And they start to get frustrated with you because they think that you're just being some kind of positive, all-knowing something. I had an argument with my sister the other night because she was in that moment in a really dark place. And when I was trying to make suggestions to her, she said, "All right, well, you just think that you're Buddha, so I don't need your advice." And I was like, "Okay, you're not ready to hear it." So,
And that's what
but
it is.
it's really frustrating though that like, no, no, I promise it works. It really does. I'm not Buddha. I just learned how to do these things. So like, I just thought it was funny because like the more that you know, the harder it is to explain to other people.
Yeah, and just have compassion for her or for people like that. Some people are just not ready,
Yeah.
and that's okay. They're on their own journey, and they might get there. You know, my 30-year-old self certainly wouldn't have been ready for the information that I've had privy to over the last 7 or 8 years. You know, so you know, when we're ready, we'll seek it out. You know, or when people are ready, they will seek out the information and. It is hard because you just want to help people. You want to help them, have better experiences. And like you said, Megan, when you're listening to your friend, well, yeah, of course you're going to have the bad doctors or whatever because you understand how that works. But somebody like that probably doesn't understand. And it can be frustrating because you just want them to listen, you know?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, and also every once in a while, I just want her to stop complaining. Like, do you have to complain about everything? Like, do we really have to? Like, can you just have a good day and enjoy some things?
Yeah, well, when you put your focus on the negative,
That's what you get. Yep.
that's
Nope.
right. That's exactly right. All right. So just for the benefit of, well, you three, of course, and then the people that are going to watch this on a or listen to it on a replay, I just wanted to throw out some announcements. Um, Last month we didn't have a whole lot going on in September. Now we do. So I want to just talk about that. That breathing, healing breath work with Nicole is happening again tomorrow night. We've got a good few people signed up for this week. So I think there's only a couple spaces left. She's going to be booking more in the fall. They're really, really incredible. Again, I will always highly recommend this as a tool to just heal, let things come up, maybe just experience what it feels like to be in that altered state. It's really fun. Um, so that's tomorrow night. On September 10th, we have two events. We have Buddha Yoga in the afternoon, so get your groove on, and then come on in for restorative at night with sunshine. The 15th, we have a third Friday in Audubon. Just come down, hang out if you want. We'll have a table out front. And yeah, there's music, there's food. It's just a nice time to just kind of socialize and get to know each other. On the 22nd, Sunshine and Denise have their love and chocolate cacao ceremony. The 24th, me and Angela are actually doing a fall solstice celebration together. And I am dusting off the Shruti box and putting something together for that to go along with Angela's sound healing. So might I might dust off the pipes too. Who knows? So maybe I'll do a little singing that night. The 27th is Manifest Monthly, and then of course I want to just put out the trainings. The 300-hour YTT starts in October, and then yeah, we have Sue doing that angelic Reiki 1 and 2 in November. Super, super excited about that. Something that she's been manifesting for a while. So, yeah. All right. That's all I have. Do you guys have anything else before we end the call?
Nope.
No, thank you
No?
so much.
Well, thank you all for being here. Megan, you're in my gratitudes every single day. And Rebecca, I just so love the gifts that you brought for me and Al. I'm so forward to our trip coming up this weekend. And yeah, so thank you all. And everybody who's listening, have a wonderful month and see you in, I don't know, 30-ish days, right? Bye.
Thank you.